Okay, how we doing today? We're out here at the shop again, and get the camera tilted just right. Come on here, stand. There we go. Trying to figure out how to put the floor in this thing. I got it all cleaned up. Let me start from the beginning here. Of course, I took the carpet out. It's out there on the porch. And I took it all out and got it all cleaned up a little bit. And there was a little corrosion and stuff like that. So I took a scraper, like a paint scraper, and scraped it all clean and everything. Got it pretty much clean. There's, you know, it's an old truck. So anyway, I got kind of cleaned up, and I was having trouble with this deck plate, trying to get the screws out. And what that is an access panel, so you can get down to work on the transmission and stuff sometimes. You don't really need it for much of anything, but the reason it's there is because the cab of these trucks were designed for regular hood and extended hood trucks. Okay, now let me try to get here at an angle to explain this a little bit. When you have an extended hood truck, the motor is farther forward, therefore the transmission is farther forward, therefore the gear shift coming out of the floor is farther forward. If you have this plate, you put it in this way with the hole toward the front. Okay, on a regular truck, the hood is shorter, the engine is set back a little ways, like 10 inches, I think, something like that. It's set back, therefore the transmission is set back, therefore the gear shift is set back too. So what they do is they make these with an offset, with the hole in the front, with that big access hole, or you can flip it around this way, and the transmission's, you know, in a shorter hood truck, and the transmission, you know, the gear shift is coming out in a different spot. Therefore, this same plate can serve for both purposes. Now, you don't really need that access hole in the cab, in the floor, for maintenance or anything like that. If they're going to take the transmission out, all they need to do is take this smaller deck plate out, or not deck, I keep saying deck plate. All they got to do is take this smaller plate, this one here, and take it out, okay? They don't need to take this whole plate out. So all I have to do is keep these holes here accessible. So anyway, that thing was sitting in there, and as you can see, I had a time getting it out. I tried and tried. I used I didn't want to use a grinder because all the sparks flying and everything, you damage stuff. You know, the hot red sparks flying onto the upholstery and stuff is no good. I've got one of those zero clearance cutoff tools, you know, and I tried using that, cutting the, and put they got the wood blades, and they also have the metal blades in there, the steel blades in there. And I tried to cut that off, and those screws are tough, you know, they really are. So I couldn't get them off that way. And finally I thought, you know, I really don't need this, okay? Because I remember in the previous truck, when I floored it, you know, put the floor in, I put it right up over that bigger access hole and just left the smaller access hole where the gear shift comes through. So what I decided to do is use a handyman secret weapon.
The handyman secret weapon, duct tape.
No, not duct tape, a hammer. So I took a hammer and started beating on it and just tore it all to hell. And as you can see, I beat it all to heck. These are the screws right here are the ones that came out, and the ones that are all chipped out, those are the ones that wouldn't come out, okay? And I had to break them out. So once I got this, it's kind of a fiberglass reinforced plastic. It's real tough stuff, okay? I broke that all out, and that got me the plate out of there, this plastic plate. And the metal plate was using the same holes or bolts to hold it down. People on the previous video said take a Dremel tool or something and cut a notch in there. That way you can use like a straight edge screwdriver. They were in there too damn tight. That wouldn't have worked. After I got these out, then the bolts were actually sticking up about this much, and I got a pair of vice grips on there and slowly turned them and tried to break. Most of them broke free. I think 3 of them actually twisted off. They were in there that tight. So anyway, I got that all out of there, got it all cleaned up, and then just put a few of the bolts back in to hold that plate down. Now, what I've done is went down to the store yesterday, and I bought wood, okay? And I'm gonna put wood flooring in, and here it is right here. It's an oak flooring. It's made by Style Selections. I believe I got this at Lowe's. And it's a hardwood floor, okay? It's real wood. It's not a laminate plastic wood. It's real wood. Now it's made kind of like a like a plywood. I mean, it's multiple layers and everything, but this top layer is actually real wood, and it's got real wood on the bottom. I think it's got a manufactured wood in the center as a core. Anyway, the reason I went with this, because it's the closest I could find that would match with the factory floor that's in the sleeper. Now this, it's an oak. The wood in the sleeper is a natural oak. Okay, it's just an oak with a natural finish on it. There's no stain on it, I don't think. And this was the same kind of wood for the most part, but a different stain color. I couldn't find the natural stuff. I'd had to order it. It might have took, I don't know how long it would have took to get it, but anyway, so I bought this, and it's what they call gun stock. It's the same, you know, color as like a rifle gun stock, and I really like that. And I thought it would probably match with the interior, you know, with these interior colors and everything better, you know. So that's why I went with that. So the floor in the sleeper in the cab is going to be a little darker than the floor in the sleeper. Now, previously, where are we here? Here's a piece. On the previous truck, that 06 that I had, I put this stuff in. This is that hardboard. And I put this stuff in there on the floor. And the reason I put that in there is to level it out. And let me find a small piece here. Let me show you what my problem. Here's some of that stuff that I put in the van, okay? It's pretty much the same thickness. Now, if I put this right here on the floor, let me get shortened out here. Camera adjusted right. There we go. Now, if I put this on here, see what I'm gonna have that problem. It doesn't lay flat, okay? So what I did on the previous truck is I put this hardboard in here as a filler in all these, you know, like a subfloor, and I put it in like that. Now that's all smooth. And when I put this in, okay, it sits flat. Now there are spots where the screws are, and what I did is I went there and now I got a mark, and I drilled a half the depth hole in here so that would lay flat. So anyway, that's what I was going to do with this one too, okay? Then I got to thinking, I remembered that previous truck, it wasn't really noisy. That carpet has like a rubber mat underneath it, and it's used as a like a sound deadener and an insulator. And I didn't really notice it being all that loud. You know, the noise isn't such a big problem, but you could feel the heat rising up through the floor. And I got to thinking, you know, it'd be nice to get some insulation under there instead. And I got to thinking, that van, I use that, you know, laminate flooring. I put this styrofoam insulation underneath there. I put 1 inch in the van, and I got to thinking I can use this 1/2 inch. So what I did is I got half inch foam and this flooring, and when I put it in, it's right up to the edge. There's still a little bit of a lip there, and when I put this in, it'll be just about the right height, okay? And then right at the sill, you've got these pieces. These pieces right here, they look like chromed angle iron. And you'll put that right on top of there like that, and that will finish off the look, see? So what I did yesterday when I was out here, I trimmed out a whole bunch of this foam and got it all trimmed out and had it in there, but I pulled it out just to show you guys. So here it is, it's upside down. This is the driver's side. It's upside down right now. Let me flip it over. So this would be where the driver's seat sits. That's the air hose for the air seat. This is where the foot pedals are up here, and this fits in right here like this. Okay, so this would be the accelerator pedal, the brake, and this is where the clutch comes through. Okay, now when after I put it in there, it had a little bit of a rock here, like I said, you know, with that hardboard that I put in. I got to thinking I can make this lay a little bit better, I think. So what I'm going to do, we just flipped it all over, and we've got it laid here. It's upside down now. And when I had it in there, I pushed it down real hard, and you can see the indentations. Okay, those indentations are, let me get you over here. That is this right here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to shave off. It's a 1/2 inch thick foam. I'm going to try to shave off about 1/18 of an inch. And the only way I can think to do it, something like this. And I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to try. Yeah, it worked pretty good. Shaved her down. See, I shaved her down just 1/8 of an inch or so, okay? less than a quarter, you know, and 3/16 maybe, something like that. So I'm going to do that all around in this area and right up here where you can see the trim, you know, the impression. So this will lay flat. And then I go over here, you can see this line right here that comes up and around. So I'm going to shave all this off right through here, okay? Once I get that all shaved, this thing should lay nice and flat then. Then I'm going to install it. So let me get busy, you know, making a fuzzy mess here, a bunch of little foam particles everywhere. Need something to hold her down. Now, as you can see, all that went together, just snap like that, right? I didn't show all the trimming and all the angles and all that. I had all this completely installed, and then I pulled it out to do this install real quick, make it look real simple. But it's not hard. It's just time consuming. Okay, but you know the cab in the back and up in the front have an angle. They're pinched in ever so slightly. The back of the cab is wider than the front of the cab, and there's this kind of an angle, see, okay? And so if you put them on straight there, you have this empty gap here, so you got to figure out all the angles and all that kind of stuff, and it takes a time to do that. And all cutting around all the foot pedals and, you know, the brake pedal and all that kind of stuff, and around the drive shaft or the gear shift, all that takes a lot of time to get lined up, you know, properly and look good, you know. But anyway, after you get it all in, it should look very nice. So just got this last little piece here, and it just kind of wedge fits in here. And another thing, when I was putting these holes in here, I was making sure these all line up, because I'm going to have to put the seat here, and all these holes have to line up. And inside I have washers, and I got to make sure all those washers are, you know, kind of in line so a bolt can go through there. This one here was making me kind of wonder, but I think it'll work. I can get it in there. Let me get a bolt. And see if I can get it in there. Yeah, that'll work just fine. Okay, so we're good. But one of the other things is underneath the floor, these are those old corroded up bolts and everything. Underneath the floor, where the seat is, if you put a seat on the carpet and bolt it down, that carpet squishes. Well, if you don't have a solid piece to mount underneath to it, it'll wobble. Okay, so you have these washers, these great big old thick washers, and that's the thickness of the carpet. Okay, you put those down in there, and then when you put the carpet over the top of it and you put the seat on it, they will actually bottom out and fit on metal to metal, and it won't be a spongy carpet or whatever. Same thing with the wood. The wood won't really compress, but that styrofoam underneath will. Okay, so if I put the seat in here and tighten it up, after a week or a month, or I don't know how long, 6 months, I don't know how long it'd take, but eventually I think the seat would start getting loose and wobbly, okay, back to side. So you want to put these big old thick spacers back in there, and these spacers weren't big enough to go from the floor all the way through that 1/2 inch of styrofoam and the 3/8 inch of plywood or wood flooring. So I had to put the spacer in, and then I put about 2 washers on, big old thick washers on top of that, so that it'll compress right down to it. So that's just a little something to think about before you install one of these. Make sure you mount your seat back right. And then also, people are probably wondering what this is. That's the air horn. There's no air horn underneath there, but this is the train horn. Okay, I salvaged the old train horns off the old truck when I wrecked it, and I'm gonna. This is already in here, so that's nice. Somewhere underneath there's a air hose just into nothing. I'm gonna install those air horns underneath there, but that's what this mounting is here, and I had to cut around all the little holes to line that all up. Another little consideration, you know, people are gonna say, well, why'd you put hardwood floor in? Why didn't you put like the laminate, the waterproof, you know? Oh, we gotta have the waterproof. Well, it doesn't get wet in here. I mean, if you got muddy feet or something, you know, you get back up in, and there's going to be a rug right here, you know, some kind of a mat of some type, so that'll soak that up. And if you do get water, you wipe it up. It's not like it's going to be soaking in water. So that's why I'm putting hardwood in here. Another reason is hardwood looks better, I think, but also this is only 3 inches wide. Okay, this piece, these boards are only 3 inches wide, and it's a whole lot easier to get around all these little holes and, you know, do your measurements and stuff when you got a thinner board. Okay, you get some of these other ones, these Pergo ones, the laminated plastic flooring or whatever, they're 6 or 8 inches wide, and can you imagine trying to line up all these holes and everything, trying to get all that lined up? It'd be a nightmare. So that's why I wanted to get the smaller boards. They're easier to work with in these little, like back in this corner here. Can you imagine trying to get an 8 inch piece back in here? It wouldn't work. So anyway, this here, and other things you have to do, like with my, right back here, there's a little bit of a compound weird angle right here in the plastic. And I had to shave off this right here. Otherwise that board would have been, you know, lifted up, so to say. So I shaved off some of there, so they'll fit right in here. Let me show you. I got to put the last piece in, I guess. And we'll line it up, push it down, come on. And that's why if you're gonna do this, it's one of the hardest things to do is all back in these little cubbies and stuff, trying to get all the cuts, the right angles and everything. But once you get it, it's right. It looks really nice. So here's the last piece. I see that kind of rises up a little bit. Doesn't want to lay real flat. There we go, a little bit better. But this last piece will go right in here. And the way I've got it, it wedges right up against that wall. Now she lays nice and steady or level. So now I got to clean these up. These are the sill bars. And they go right here. It's just a piece of metal and a little bit of an angle to it on the back. Okay, if you can see right there. And that goes over and lips down in. And I got to find out where those holes are down in there. I think what I'm going to do is just line it where I want it and just drill new holes and then mount it right there. All the way through into the aluminum. Okay, so anyway, that's it. That's how you install a floor. You know, I'm going to put a little bit of bonus footage at the back of this video, showing all the interest. You know, not everything, but a lot of the little things that you know, how to notch things out. Not really how to do it, just watching me do it, I guess. But like these holes right here, like this hole right here, trying to figure out where to drill that hole. And what you do is you get a board. Hold on. So you get a board and you put it up here and you line it up where you want. And you get your pencil out and you draw a little line right here where it comes in. Okay, that's where that line comes up. Okay, same thing with the gear shift and all these other little things. You line up where that is, and then you line the board up where it's going to lay this way. Okay, and you put a line right there. So then you go back to your workbench and you get a straight edge, a ruler or something like that, and you take this line where you were. Where was that? It's right there. Kind of hard to see. And you draw a line over here, put an X. Okay. And you draw a line over here and put the other. Now you know exactly where to drill that hole. You drill that hole and it'll line up just right.
He got the idea that we should advertise on his show. And he had a backlog. People want to advertise. So I thought, yeah, we'll give it a whirl. And then the point about the whirl is, he was great. He understood what our college was about. You know, he was on the radio 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 4:30 Sunday. It wasn't simple to be to set up a demo that he was entertaining. He was funny. He was just but more essential than that is that he represented some big things that are rooted deeply in America, and he distinctly. That's the way that absolutely is part of that. So apply your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of pay, the super is one you are looking for. The people in the haystack. Requires 4 out of 5 reporters who post their job in businesses are going to quality candidates within the first class trial. That the show would continue. And so the show itself will be Illinois. Here's a comparison of the existing
Now, one of the little things that I got about this, one of the little things about installing these floors, sometimes you can't help but have a little boo-boo, okay? I worked trying to figure out how to do it, and I can't. This board right here, okay? Line her up. As you can see right here, this is the brake pedal. And the way this mounting is and everything, and back underneath, back behind here, that was so hard to get all cut and notched out right. I put it in and you lay it down, and I needed that clearance right here to get around this foot pedal, okay? And there was just no way to do it. If I cut this, you know, if I cut this shorter up in here and try to put it down and then slide it forward, I'd have been hitting back here trying to lie it down. And it's just, you know, there's no way you can do it. You know, it will not go in the way you think it, you know, way you'd like. So there's a little hole, little gubby hole here. And it's just one of those things about putting a hardwood floor in something like this. You just can't get around. There's just nothing you can do about it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and I still got a little bit of trimming work to do around the gear shift here. I'm going to put a collar, a oak collar around that, and just like I did on the previous truck. Now, somebody's going to say, well, if you ever have transmission problems and have to get that transmission pulled out of here, how are you going to do that? Well, they'll unbolt the transmission from below and take it down, but they got to take the gear shift out. Okay, so there's access right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, 5, 6 bolts. And they take those 6 screws out. Once they get them out, they get this boot off out of the way, and they can unbolt the gear shift and take it out, and then the transmission will fall out from underneath. So no problems there. All good. Ciao.